Alright, so we're back and we're going to talk about continuing to beat the bot club members. So we played Jack last time, and I didn't put up, a brilliant score, but we scored 5.5 out of 6, which isn't bad, following a strategy that really focused on the following things. I should slightly crop this so you can't see those weird numbers there. Those aren't very relevant. That should look a little better. So we're going to be playing against Club, which still likes to capture, and we're going to still be focusing on the same things. So we're going to aim the direction of the game. What I want to do in these videos is come into each video using the kind of strategies we honed from the last one and see how they work. And if they don't work, I'm going to refigure out, here's how we're going to approach it. And so hopefully there can be kind of a progression of skills that develop. And the skills we looked to develop in the first one was first figuring out the directions of our hand. Where are we facing? Where do we want the action to be headed? Where will our cards be happy, right? We should be thinking like, this card wants to be hitting stuff upright, so put a card in 3, that kind of thing. The second thing we want to do is look at the principle of even and odds. When we see a card with only one side out facing, we should think about taking it, because that has the chance to lock it in. When we see a card with 2 sides out facing, maybe we don't take, because that'll give them a chance to lock in, right? We're looking for lock-ins. We're not looking just to capture because we can. And that's going to give us a big advantage against these bots that like capturing a lot, because they will capture when they can, and we're going to be more cautious, more thoughtful about the times we capture. Another thing about direction I forgot to mention here was because our opponents really like capturing, they are going to cluster cards around wherever cards are played. So if you start in 3 and you're good facing upright, you're going to be good the whole game because they're going to keep putting cards near where other cards have been, and your cards will keep having things to attack. The final thing is we're able to control endgames. Even if we're not great calculators, we'll have a very good sense of where they're likely to go because capture bots, and players that love capturing do this too, will choose to capture, and we can more often predict what they're going to do and how we want to play against it. We can cause them to walk their way into combos, and I tried to show that in the last game I played. So the main thing Club does better than Jack is better starters. And so Jack, every time Jack went first against us, Jack got themselves in trouble because they essentially played a 1 weakness card, right? Instead of 0 or 2 weaknesses. So when we could take that 1 weakness, they didn't have a way to capture back, and we could effectively be up a card already. Club's going to be a little better there, and so the main difference, so there are a few differences in them. Club is definitely a smarter, more capable bot, and has put up a better win percentage. The main difference there is going to be how we handle Club starters. Otherwise, I think the same strategies will work, and we're going to try to apply them. If they don't work, I'm not going to, spend a while trying to find moves to pretend that this is working. Hopefully, if my strategies here don't work, I lose, and I go back to the drawing board and figure out better strategies for this bot. But I think these same strategies should suffice with a little extra work. So I'm going to hopefully start up the bot. It takes a little longer to make moves when playing this way because I have the recording running and that takes up some computer CPU, but we're going to play against Club. I am on the wrong, oops, didn't mean to show you my podcast listening. I am on the wrong, I'm recording this during the World Cup. I am on the wrong browser. I should be on a VPN. So we're gonna switch that over and hopefully do better this time. And we can take the game now. So we have first turn, so we're going to be doing the same things we did last time. We're going to figure out where we want to go directionally and how to set the game to go there. Our first card wants to go up. Our second card wants to go left or up. A 4 is pretty powerful on level 2. Our third card doesn't much care. Our fourth card wants to go down. And our fifth card wants to go up and right. Overall, I got 3 cards happy to go up, 2 cards happy to go left, 1 card happy to go down, and maybe 2 cards happy to go right, but much more going up left. Now, if we're going to go up left, 1172 is the card I really don't want in my hand. I would like to use that. And I would also like to start in 1. So my ideal move, if I can recapture it, would be 1172 and 1. And we have 2 ways to recapture that. Because to recapture a 7 with plus wall, we need a 3 gap, meaning 3 higher facing towards it than facing the wall. And 6213 has that 6-3, and 5432 has that 5-2. 4-1 would also work, as would 7-4, but I don't think 7-4 exists on level 2. But because we have the recaptures, and this is the card I want out of my hand, that's what I'm going to start with. And we'll see what they do. Usually takes the bots like just a few seconds to move, but when I have the recording open, it seems it takes them more like 15. So they took. Now, a few things to note. One is, can we combo their card from 3? And the answer is yes. 4216 is a plus wall there. But just like last time, I want to play to 0 or 2 weaknesses. That 2625 is double weak to us. We can take from 5, we can take from 3. So we don't have to touch it. Note, we could take it from 5. They have a recapture from 3, but if they didn't, we could sort of lock it in, but that would give them an easy way to lock in 1. What we really want to do is lock in 1. That's a card with 1 weakness, and leave the card with 2 weaknesses alone. Now, how should we lock in 1? We could do it with 5432, or we could do it with 6213. Because we're capturing with plus wall and a lower level, we don't have to worry so much about walking into combos, because if they plus or same our card, they're not flipping any extra cards. So we don't have to worry about that as much. I still think we should have something of a preference for not walking into combos, but it should be very weak. The more important thing we should think is, what keeps directionality towards the game? We're going up left. 6213 seems a little better than 5432. So that's one thing to look for. The other is, does it leave 2 weaknesses? 5432, we can recapture from both 5 and 7. 6213, we can recapture from both 5 and 7, and we can do it a whole lot easier. So my instinct is going to be just not calculating too deeply. We don't have to look too deeply. Our strategies don't have to be all that great at this point, but I think we should capture with the card that is easier for us to recapture after. If your instinct was 5432, maybe you did a little more calculation. It may well be a better move, or it may just be a better move because holding on to 6213 kept more power towards the game. Reasonable to have a different instinct here. I don't feel all that strongly about this. The rules we've given could send you either way. Alright, they captured from 5. Now, notably, our combo in 3 is devastating, because their card in 2 is strong to the card in 5, is strong to the card in 4. Now, there's a chance we want to take that immediately, but against a capture bot, we actually just shouldn't. Against a capture bot, what we should try to do is make sure they don't go in 3, so we can hit in 3 at a just truly devastating moment. So my first instinct would be go in 7 with something they can even take, while keeping open the combo in 3. But we actually, any card we put in 7 would give up our move, would give up the only card we can put in 7 they can take from 8 so that we can predict their move is the 4216, which is the card we need for 3. And we could still go in 7 because we're safe there. So we may go in 7, but I do like leaving that combo potential open. Seems a powerful effect to leave open. However, if we don't have a way to really take advantage of it, we could also take the combo at once. Now, if we do take the combo at once in 3, they combo back in 6. They have a plus in 6. So I think instead we should look to start, because we have safety, we capture a card, we lock in a card. The first squares we're looking here are 3 and 7. I think 9 can also be a good square, but the first squares we should check are 3 and 7. 3, they have a combo that flips back at least a bunch of cards and is safe to us. That 5-4-5-1 with the 5 facing down we can't take. So I'd rather just go safely in 7. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, we're looking to play 3 or 7 because those are the squares that have one number facing out. Which way should we play it? Well, I don't want to use the 4-2-1-6 because I like its threat in 3. So I think I want to use the 5-4-3-2 or the 3-4-3-4. I notice the 5-4-3-2 sets up a threat with the 3-4-3-4 and 8, and I like setting up the threat for a big same. So I think I'm going to go that way. Again, not trying to do like extensive calculations. We shouldn't need them to play well against this bot. And we should be doing kind of the most useful understandings we can get at this point. They do block 3, so that's a bummer. And notice they're smart. Unlike Jack, which probably would have blocked 3 with 2-1-6-4 to have the highest outfacing, this blocks grabbing safety. That's smart. However, we have captures, and they don't have recaptures. The main question is, what's going on with 5? Does it have... So the card in 7, 5-4-3-2, it has an outfacing side, but they can't take it, so effectively it has 0 weaknesses. The card in 3, 5-4-5-1, it is 1 outfacing side, but we can't take it, so effectively it has 0 weaknesses. What about 1-5-3-5 and 5, though? It is 2 outfacing sides, and we can take it either way. Can they recapture either way? In fact, they can't recapture either of the ways. It's not just they can't recapture both. They don't have any recaptures. So if we take it, we're going to be up 6-4, and if they have no captures at that point, we're golden. So I'm going to play this pretty simply. There's probably a whole bunch of ways to do it. So I was going to play 3-4-3 in 8, saming the card in 5. We'd go up 6-4. They have no captures. We'd win easily. Potentially cuter is to play 4-2-1-6 and 6, go up 6-4. They will recapture in 9, and we can flip anything they put in 9. So that would be kind of the like trying to take advantage of the AI here, but when we can, we should just play good. It's when we're kind of desperate that we should look to take advantage of how we know it'll play. And again, it's smart, right? If it put that card in 6, we'd get a plus, and we'd flip an extra card at the end. This AI is clearly a smarter AI than Jack, but we can beat it with the same methods. So we win game 1. Don't know how many games we're going to play this time. I played 6 last time, so I'm probably aiming for 6 again. But hopefully the strategies we used last time, I think, should suffice so far. We got another first turn. Got some similar cards. I need more cards on this account. That first card wants to go up left. That second card up right. Honestly, I'm tempted to use the same starter we used last time. I should check how many level 2s we have on this account, because we might get a lot of redundancy. No, we have 62 cards. That's not so bad. 1-1-7-2 and 1 honestly looks like the right move again to me. Our first card wants to go up left. Our fourth card kind of wants to go up left, could also go right. Our third card wants to go left. Our second card wants to go up right. Everything wants to go up or left except for 1-1-7-2, and I can get that out of my hand this turn. So I'm just going to start the same way, and I know that's a little redundant, but it seems like the right move according to the strategies we have, and hopefully future games we draw new cards. I didn't even check if they could capture, and I haven't been checking if they could capture that 7. They can. So now, what do we want to do? Well, that's actually an annoying card for us. We cannot take it from 7. So there's a pretty decent chance we don't get that big an advantage this game. You know, this might be a game we don't get a win. Now, if we're playing kind of a little more advanced, we might play 4-2-1-6 and 8, which sets us up to have huge combo potential. I'm not sure it's that powerful, but it does set up 5-4-3-2 to be pretty dominant in both 5 and 7. But we're doing simple strategy right now, and we're looking to take in 2. We want to lock in a card. And we want to lock in a card in a way that doesn't give them a combo. Now, none of our cards will have a high number facing out towards 3, such that they could plus wall that. So we really got to just be checking 5. If we have a 1 facing down, can they combo it? No, they need something 4 higher up than left. They do not have that. If we put a 3 facing down, our only options are 1 and 3. If we put a 3 facing down, they'd need either a same, which they don't have, or something 2 higher up than facing down, left. They don't have that either. So we could play any card in 2. The question is, which card do we want out of our hand? There are choices there. My instinct is, what's the card that least faces the action? 4-2-1-6 and 3-4-1-6 face it basically both fully. So the question is 5, 4, 3, 2, which doesn't have much going left, or 1, 2, 3, 7, which doesn't have much going up. Based on their hand, I think 5, 4, 3, 2 might be a little more annoying for them, because that is a tricky card for them to take and forces a lot of their up value out of their hand. So that is my instinct, and I'm going to run with that. But you could choose any of the cards here, and I don't think it would be absurd. This card is probably better for the later game, though. That 2 has a little more value than the 1, though maybe not against the cards we see. All right, let's run with the card I thought. I don't think we're going to win this game, by the way. I think their 4, 5, 5, 1 is going to be tricky for us to ever take. And when they go in 5 here, which they will, because that was their only capture, we don't have a great move, but we're not doing extensive calculations. Now, what do we want to do? We want to go in 3 or 7. We don't have a capture in 7, so we're not locking in a card by going there. So we want to look at 3. Now, our most tempting way to capture in 3, I think, is 1, 2, 3, 7, but that gives them all of their cards then have a plus and 6 comboing us. If we have a 1 facing down, they can't combo us, but they will take in a way that we can't really deal with. We could easily get ourselves in trouble this game. This game has gone badly. This game has gone badly. One thing to do when a game's going badly against these bots is try to induce error. For instance, that doesn't do very much. I had an idea, it isn't great. Now, I see some ties. But okay, let's think, what would we be doing? Sorry, I shouldn't be calculating. I should be thinking, what are we doing following the stuff we've said? We should be going in 3 or 7. We don't have captures in 7, so we should be going in 3. If we go in 3, we don't want to walk into a combo, so we can't use 1, 2, 3, 7. So we should use either 4, 2, 1, 6 or 3, 4, 1, 6. Which should we use? Well, we should keep more power facing the game. Now, that can be hard to decide, because 4-2-1-6, the game is still up left, and 4-2-1-6 is better there, but the game is now going to get a fair amount of right component as well, and 3-4-1-6 is better if we include right power. And I'm going to start including that right power, because after I go in 3, they're going to go in 6, and the game's going to be just as right directed as it formerly was left directed. Now, they're going to be smart. They're going to play 2, 4, 5, 3, and 6. Or this way. This is safe as well. And we actually only barely have a tie here. We have no captures. I did not sufficiently keep power facing towards the action to have a win here. Maybe I shouldn't have used 5, 4, 3, 2, and 2. It's not clear. One thing to know is they are locked into captures. So if we could induce something clever off a capture, if they only have 1 capture, we could trick them into doing it. I don't see any tricks here, so I'm going to play the tie I see, which is 1, 2, 3, 7, and 9. And we're going to only tie the second game. So not as strong a start using these methods. But I still think one that is going to put up good results over time. But we really got to be careful about keeping that directional power towards the action. So played 2 games, 1.5 out of 2. I'm going to stick with our theme. Alright, we're getting too many first turns. I wanted to try to show what happens on their first turns. So, where are our cards headed? First card up, second card down left, third card up left, fourth card right, a little bit left as well, fifth card down, but also some up. This is not a hand that suggests a direction in the same way as the others. So what I'm going to do here is introduce a whole new type of starter. We're going to try a side start. because 4, 1, 7, 1, and 2, we have 3, 2, 6, 4, and 1 and 3 as a recapturer. I call this a safe side starter. I think against a capture bot, it may also be an effective strategy. And I'd like to try it out. It is a principle of two weaknesses. If we play 4, 1, 7, 1, and 2, the point is we can recapture in 1 or 3, and no one can take from 5. So it does have two weak faces out. And most side starters you see will follow this kind of principle of two weaknesses if they'll have a high number facing towards 5. And I think that's what I'd like to do here. Because looking at our hand, it's not obvious where we want to go directionally. We have 6, 4, 4 to the left. We have 6, 4, 4 going up. We have 6, 4, 2 going to the right. So maybe we don't want to go right. And we have 7, 6, 3 going down. That might be our best of all. We might start on the left-hand side, but we don't have a great way to use 2, 6, 3, 4 there. So we're going to try a different kind of starter, just very standard starter type, and see what happens. The thing we had to check was, is 3, 2, 6, 4 actually a safe recapture in 1 or 3? They only have a 6 facing up, so they'd need to plus wall it. So I checked to make sure they don't have a 4 gap, like a 6, 2 or a 5, 1 facing up. And I had to check that for both 4 and 6, right? Because if they could do it either way, they could do it either way. Now here, from what we've done till now, every time we've had this type of structure, we've gone in the 6 square, right? Because we go in 6, because that's a 1 weak out facing side, and then we have 2 ways to attack the card in 2. Here, however, the standard thing to do is actually just to go in 1, because we create 2 cards that have 1 out facing, but both are safe. So that would be the standard thing to do. Now, there is still quite a good argument for going in 6 if we can set it up so that 2 has 2 weaknesses, such that we have a threat in 5. We don't have a way to do here, so I think the move following our principles this time, because that card in 2 is only a 1 weakness card, is to essentially turn that into a 0 weakness card while playing another 0 weakness card. And we now have 2 cards that are pretty safe, and they'll be able to make 1 card that's pretty safe. And that's sort of the core concept. Now, this is a very good move by them, I think. And we may again have failed to get any advantage, though we'll have to see. Because they took one of our 0 weakness cards and created a threat against it with 3, 5, 2, 4. And if we block 5, right, because they have a real threat to take something in 5 now, so we want to make that 1 weakness 0 weaknesses. If we block 5 with 2, 6, 3, 4, we walk into a plus in 4 with 3, 5, 2, 4. So we kind of have to block 5 with another card. Now, if we block it with we can block it 2 other ways, 6, 4, 2, 2 or 4, 2, 1, 6. Which do we want to choose? Well, the 6 facing out, do they have a plus in 4? They do not. The 2 facing out, do they have a plus in 4? They don't have that either. So we should think about which of these cards we want to hold in our hand. Now, they both have a fair amount of power facing the action. It's not entirely obvious which has more. One thing worrisome about using 4, 2, 1, 6 is we might not be able to recapture it from 4 if wanted. That could be a little worrisome. So we could go either way here. I don't think there's a particularly obvious case using the principles we've looked at so far for picking one over the other. But actually there probably is. We should go for the card with 2 weaknesses, the card it's easier for us to recapture. So we're going to play it this way. We're going to block 5 to lock in 2. We have now locked in 1 and 2, basically. Alright, so this was a very poor move of theirs, I think. But we'll have to look at it. They went for a capture. But this seems a pretty undesirable capture. Because, and these bots will be tempted to do this kind of move. Note, one reason you might want to play 4, 2, 1, 6, and 5 is if they didn't have a capture in 4, they will play the capture in 8, and this often leaves them really, really vulnerable. Specifically here, 9 is a free square. It already has 0 weaknesses. It can lock in 6, and also Our most likely move in 9 plus walls 8, which flips 5. Now, they have some combo potential back, because 2, 7, 3, 1 in 7 is a plus wall on 8. But that flips 5, and then the combo doesn't go any further. So that's not very scary. We should almost always take the square in 9 here, because fundamentally it's safe and it can lock in more cards. And we have such a beautiful card to do so. So we're going to take. And I think they're going to combo back in 7. But we are currently up 7 to 3. And this only makes it 5-5. And we actually win 7-3 here. So we win game 3. And hopefully we get some second turns. But we showed off the strong side starter here. Very common starter type. I don't mean to suggest this is... Alright, good. We got a second turn. And let's see how they handle this. Because we haven't had a second turn yet, and I'm curious what they do here. Alright. This is a card we can take both ways. Can they recapture both ways? Unlike what we saw with Jack, they can't. So I think now we want to go back to what we're good at doing here. We want to say, how can we direct the game such that it works well for us? Now notice, we might look at their hand, but I think we're not even there yet. We might notice their hand clearly really wants to go left. But I think we can do this mostly looking at our hand and just figuring things out from that. So one thing to do is when we check their recaptures, we saw their only recapture in 4 of their starter in 7 is 3-2-6-2. So if we take their starter in 8 such that we have combo play against 3-2-6-2 and 4, then they can't go in 4 and we have the chance to lock in a card. Do we have a way to do so? I am not actually seeing one. So scratch that plan. Instead, we're back to looking to direct the game. They have many ways to recapture an 8, not worth checking our capture in 4, and if we can combo off against everything. It's just unlikely to be the case because they have so many cards to go there. So instead we should be thinking, what way do we want to go? Well, our first card wants to go down, but it already has a target, so that's fine. Our second card wants to go left. Our third card does not want to go right. Our fourth card wants to go left. And our fifth card probably doesn't want to go down. So mostly the biggest indicator I get from our hand is it doesn't want to go right. Okay, we can work with that. If we don't want to go right, and we don't want to help lock in their card for us, the only corner we can play in, the only move that kind of directs usefully for us is 1. So I think we're going to try putting something in 1. Most of our cards seem to have some play there, but which card of ours least wants to play in this kind of left-facing game? Maybe 3-5-2-4. Maybe 3-5-2-4. So we're going to try that in 1. Now we have limited ways to recapture it, but we're fairly low on time, and we're trying to make the game left-facing. They capture. Now here, we really want to lock our card in. We can lock in that card in 1. It's the only card with 1 out facing. We want to do so. We only have one way to capture it, 5-1, 5-4. So now we got to check, do they combo us back in 5? Well, if a 1 facing out, there's a 3 facing down. They don't have the same. Do they have a 2 gap, something 2 higher left than up? They do not. So we're going to lock in a card. We're going to take chances like this to lock in cards. Note we can be a little more carefree about the direction stuff because we don't have to use every card in our hand. They capture. We're down 6-4. But we have 2 options to lock in, and we should presumably take one of them. We can either go in 8, locking in 7, or we can go in 3, locking in 2. I notice if we go 2, 2, 3, 6, and 3, they don't have a recapture in 6, So that seems a really nice way to do so. Seems very pleasant to me. If we go in 8, with their 6 to the left, they will have a way to capture us. So we can both lock in a card and play another safe card. And I think we should. If they play correctly here, we're not going to win, but that's okay. We're not going to win every game. They did play correctly. Now, a bunch of ways to tie here. But we'll go with the, we'll hope it works. We'll go with the capture. Okay. Some games with this strategy, we're just going to tie. You'll notice our win rate, even if I win the last 2 games I play here, is lower than it was against Jack. So our simple strategy, not working quite as well, but we have 2 wins and 2 ties. Let's see how we do in game 5. Okay, we got second turn again. This is good. So we're trying to see how strategies work on both first turn and second turn. If we look at our hand while it thinks, top card wants to go down, second card wants to go down, third card wants to go up, fourth and fifth want to go left. Overall, we're pretty much we don't want to go right. And they have started on the right. Now first we check weaknesses. They can recapture both ways. You can see that quite quickly. They have a 5 and 6 going up, and they have a 5 and 7 going to the right. So they're going to have multiple capture options either way. Now I note both of their cards that can capture from below have a 3 going left. So if we could take from 2 in a way where their move in 6 would get comboed, that would be nice for us. But we can't do that. We don't have a way to do that. So instead, we should start directing the game towards the part of the board we want to play on. Where's that? Well, definitely on the left side of the board. And I think there's kind of a few reasonable ways to do it. In general, we don't really mind going up. We're pretty good going up. We don't mind going down. We're fairly good going down. We have 2 cards that are really good going down and not much else. Going up, we have 1 card that's really good, but a bunch more that are at least okay. Maybe we go up. Could go either way. There are lots of moves that seem reasonable. I think this 4-2-2-6 is kind of dead against them on board. At least it has no pressure against their card on board. Same with their 2-3-2-7. The 4-1-7-1's a little tricky for us to recapture, whether it goes in 1 or 7, because the 4 and 7 facing out are tough for us to take. The 3-2-6-3 similarly could be a little tricky. I feel the 4-2-2-6 in 1 or the 2-3-2-7 in 1 are cards that are pretty easy for us to recapture. And so I think that's where I want to start. Just a card that is very easy for us to take. Principle of 2 weaknesses. They capture us. Now, this seems a pretty poor move, and Club will make moves like this quite a bit. Of course, we want to go in 2 and lock in 1. We have 2 ways to do so, but 3-2-6-3 is actually safe to 5 and flips 3, which is a little tricky for them to flip back. So this seems a really easy move to make, and I think they're walking into so much trouble here. Because we know they're going to capture if they can, and their only capture is in 6, and this just walks into more combos. And there's probably better ways than I'm doing to take advantage of this stuff. But right now we see they played this, we can combo in 5, they don't have a combo back. We're just going to take it and keep flipping stuff. Now they're almost certainly going to play 4, 5, 2, 3, and 7. Once we connect, they have. And here we just have to make sure not to get comboed at the end. We're up 7-3. So we don't play 2, 3, 2, 7, and 8, which would be a good way to throw this game away. We instead, I'm just going to block with a 6, 4, 3, 2, and 8. And we get our third win with 2 ties. again, trying to use 2 weaknesses. It does seem to have some trouble against these adjacent corners. They did get a tie, but they started in 3, we went in 1, and they went in 6, giving us a really nice play in 2. And that, I think, gave a pretty big advantage and is a nice way to meet their starters. So we have one more game. This last game, 3 wins, 2 ties. If we look at Bot Club overall, they have 100-ish wins, 100-ish ties. Say, let's just call that 300 losses. So they win about 20%, tie about 20%, lose about 60%. Hopefully we win this. That'll give us 67% wins and no losses and be slightly above the average, but admittedly, not the most impressive record here. So again, they played a starter. They can recapture both ways, but they only have 1 recapture both ways. So if we can set up combo play against them, this could be very strong for us. Now, we have 2 captures in 4, both of them with a 1 to the right. If they go in 8, their only captures 5, 1, 2, 5. We will not have a plus in 5 there. So what if we capture from 8? Their only recapture in 4 is 3, 1, 7, 3. We can recapture them a few different ways from 8. We will either have a 3 or a 5 facing up, but after neither of those cards can we combo off against a 1. So again, it seems they have played a move that has safety to what we're doing. So I think instead what we want to do is play another of these adjacent corners because they've looked really strong here. We could look at their hand and think other directional stuff, but that's not really part of our strategy. We want to play 2 weaknesses. Let's keep thinking within our strategy. I always get distracted by looking at other stuff, but we're trying to just play a coherent strategy. Our first card wants to go down, our second card up, our third card down, our fourth card doesn't much care, and our fifth card would like to go, generally speaking, left. So I think an appealing move is either 7-3-2-3 or 1-1-7-2 in 1. Probably 1-1-7-2 because once we go in 1, the game is just as much up as down. And this seems a card we can retake both ways. We have a nice way to plus wall in 4. And yeah, we have recaptures both ways. It's a little harder for them to take, hopefully, but we haven't even checked their hand. But what we're just doing is playing a card that our hand is generally happy to be going left. 4-1-7-1's the least happy, but it's happy to go up-down, and these kinds of cards do lead to up-down games as well. Plus, we're on second turn, so we don't need all our cards to play well. Now this time, for once, they didn't give us kind of the free square, but we're going to look to lock something in. And ideally, when we lock something in, we want to, again, play with 2 weaknesses. So if we go in 2, we want to make sure we set up a way to do something in 5 after. Don't see a great way to do so. Similarly, if we go in 8, I want to set up a good thing to do in 5 after. Don't see a great way to do that either, actually. So, we don't have big setups here. Oh, we do have one. If we play 7-3-2-3 and 2, we do set up a plus in 5. We might not end up taking it, but that's going to take further calculation than we want to do right now. So I'm going to set this up because it's a card I see I can take back both ways. And I like setting up a threat in 5, so I have this threat against this card in 4. Alright, they block 5. So here, we know what the 2 key squares to look at are, because we see which cards on the board have only 1 out-facing side. 2 has only 1 out-facing side, and 8 has only 1 out-facing side. So we probably want to grab one of those. 7 has only 1. If we go in 8, we grab 7. Can we go in 8 while being safe? No. Can we go in 3 while grabbing 2 and being safe? Yes, we can. So I believe that is what we are going to do here, though it looks like we are going to be settling for a tie again, which is rather a shame. So I think this strategy, while somewhat effective, did not prove quite capable of getting a big advantage against Club. I tried to follow it straightforwardly, and it did win half the games and tie the other half. So, and it certainly, I think, was at no risk of losing here. I think it's a very steady strategy, but not enough to really punish what club is doing. So I may come back to face club again with a hopefully better tailored strategy for club. But I think for now, let's not try to be classy. Let's just do the simple way. I think for now we can say this is a good strategy against club. You will win quite a few. You shouldn't lose with it unless your hand is really despicable. But we might need to pay attention to more things than I am currently paying attention to play well against club. But that's a strategy against club. I think it basically works. It is not as good as it could be. And so we'll probably talk about things to do next time. A couple things I noticed. One is we didn't play against where club was directionally weak themselves. And we might be able to get advantages by giving them harder things to take than what we're doing. Right now we were playing only to give ourselves easier captures, not to give them particularly difficult captures. I was trying to keep cards with good direction, use up the cards that don't have good directions, but as long as I could recapture them well. And I think potentially paying more attention to their directions could do so. It might take better calculation to be advantageous against club. And I think another strategy that might work that I didn't play for at all here is setting up lots of combo potential. They might constantly fall into traps. And that might be another more effective way to play against club. Obviously, doing more in-depth calculation, you could certainly just play a lot better than I was playing and have that be a good way to play against club. But we're trying to show straightforward ways of thinking that work. And I think today's method did work. And actually, it scored 75%. 3 wins and 3 ties out of 6. Maybe that's enough that I just move on. But club was clearly a stronger opponent than jack. And it may require better strategy to really dominate club the way that is very possible. But also, I think this was a good enough strategy, and I'm sort of curious if we take the same thing and apply it to queen, the next level bot, how it holds up there. Because I think queen is a significant jump, and it would be interesting if the strategies here hold up, and interesting if they don't. Clearly, it dominates jack, and it beats club pretty significantly. Does it hold up against queen? Because basically our understanding right now is we direct the game towards where we're good, we play to evens and odds, we try to control endgames. And when we see their starters, which are a lot smarter than the previous ones, we look to take advantage of some combo stuff, though I didn't find a way to do it here. But usually we simply go, okay, you played in one corner, we'll play in another corner that directs our hand nicely, follows the principle of 2 weaknesses. I didn't try to add too much more here. I tried to play the strategy we'd seen so far. And I think for the most part, it was pretty good, but not fantastic.